here we are. Once again, people, we're live on air, and we are here again today for a double whammy, a second show in a row. I know it's never been done before in the history of crypto radio. I'm not sure if there is a history of crypto radio, is there? I don't think so. But we're here today with a technology in the blockchain space that has been surviving through thick and thin. It has been interrogated, it has been harassed, and still it has come out on top. And it's come out on top because of one simple reason. They're still here. So, and I feel like Morpheus when I say that. We have Synkist on with us. Synkist, you're the developer for BlockNET?
No, I am on the core team.
All right. Synkist is is on the core team, which is like a manager.
Yeah, you can also call me by my real name, which is Arlen Kulwick.
Alan.
We've been public about our names for the entire duration of the project.
All right, Alan, right?
Arlen.
Arlen.
Like if you take the fish, the marlin, and just don't say the M.
Arlen, gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, Arlen. BlockNET, from what I understand, is a platform, right?
Uh-huh.
And the platform, it's kind of like all-inclusive. Coins can be added to this platform, correct?
Yes, it's completely peer-to-peer, so it doesn't really require any one central entity adding something or coding anything to get one coin or another coin interoperating with it. Currently, if a coin is based on Bitcoin Core or the Ethereum code base, then unless you've customized things, it'll work out of the box.
So is this a custom written code base?
Yes, it's not a wallet though. The project is about inter-blockchain interoperability. So if it were completed and mature, you could deliver any kind of digital service. It'll just be a generic service bus from nodes on any blockchain to nodes on any other blockchain. So the delivery of data of any kind, whether that's basically just imagine sort of mobile apps and think of all the many services that are delivered through a mobile app. Maybe imagine a few strange ones in the future and you've got something like what we're aiming at. But anyway,
so
what we're doing at the moment is we're still building out the core components. And the thing that we're pushing right now is our decentralized exchange components. And we're going to bring that to the public as something that your average trader can use with a nice friendly UI and a great trading experience. You still there?
So I'm new to the world of crypto, right? I'm a new guy. I have no idea what's going on in this world, and BlockNET just comes my way. What do you think the real world use for BlockNET will be? For say I'm an average kid in high school or college. What do you think the potential for me utilizing this will be for? What's like the purpose of it?
Well, I guess our project is more infrastructural than anything else. It wasn't envisaged as something that end users need to directly be aware of at all. TCP/IP or any of these sort of internet layers, you don't have to know a thing about them or how they work in order to use them every day. And the BlockNET is about that. I mean, the core challenge, as I see it, is that when blockchains came into being, it made possible some very radical things, like being able to send payments without any third parties involved and being able to prove that a payment was made It enabled you to do this sort of thing without having to trust the person you were paying or the person paying you.
Right.
And it did that with incredible resilience and robustness and a fairly high degree of privacy. And everyone got very excited about that. But the thing is, if you achieve that, and then you try build out this whole ecosystem with a bunch of traditional type services, you end up sacrificing the security or the security properties of blockchains in the process. And I guess it kind of defeats the point in a lot of cases of having a blockchain in the first place when that happens. So the BlockNet's vision is about preserving the security properties of blockchains across blockchains when you're moving between one and another. That's more or less what we're aiming at.
So we're looking more of this is a technology of interest for people. It's more of an infrastructure, correct? That people can utilize. So if I have a business and I say I have a shoe business, right? I sell shoes. Not like Al Bundy, but I sell shoes. I own the shop. And I wanted to utilize or find some type of infrastructure where I can make payments, decentralized. We'll come to the anonymous version later. Would I be able to use BlockNet to make transactions, utilizing, maybe current currencies, or would I have to transfer it to Bitcoin and then utilize your technology to transfer currency?
Well, it depends on whether you're thinking in terms of what you can do currently and what you're capable of building using the BlockNet. Currently, we have a decentralized exchange, which can work between one wallet and another wallet, and given what it can interoperate with, that's something like 99% of all blockchains out there.
Oh, nice.
But it doesn't do, any kind of service at all yet. We need to keep going and keep building the thing. And that's, as I see it, if you take, say, the current atomic exchange protocol for trading one coin for another, and in addition to the sending over of a coin in the one direction, or maybe instead of sending a coin with any amount other than just the transaction fee, you send a data payload, or perhaps you send a key that will enable you to unlock a file and view it, or something like that. That will give you, just with a very simple thing like that, it gives you the ability to provide services across blockchains with no centralization, no need to trust any sort of third parties. I guess, just with a simple thing like that, we would have already achieved a lot of what we set out to do. So
this decentralized exchange really interests me because, the biggest problem in the crypto space now is centralized exchanges. We have robberies left and right. We got exchanges going down from theft, and it's a big problem. And
it's kind of unbelievable.
From what a lot of people are claiming to have a decentralized exchange. I'm hearing it all the time now. We've had SuperNet say they're doing it, and they have one, and but my biggest problem with all these decentralized exchanges is we need to have it user friendly. A normal person is not going to figure out how to make exchanges through curls. It's not gonna work. They're not gonna figure it. No one's gonna take the time. Everybody wants a one-button solution. So how does the BlockNet decentralized exchange work?
Okay, well, when it comes to a one-button solution, that's exactly what we want. I think it's really important to not surface any of the complicated stuff to someone who just wants to trade. A trader will need some good tools, like some decent charting, the right order types, and the ability to basically press a button and have it execute without, any complications. That is the current emphasis of our project, which is just to bring out a really good front end that is nice to use and feels great. But I also think that in order for you to even be prepared to take that step, it's also necessary to do your homework, so to speak. I guess I haven't really seen a decentralized exchange brought out that is satisfactory on technical terms, going by my maybe quite personal standards.
Gotcha.
I mean, for example, I've never seen a decentralized exchange before this that gave you the following four things. Firstly, no need to deposit your coins at some central entity. Secondly, no need to rely on some centralized order book.
Right,
thirdly,
yes.
no need to rely on some central way of matching orders. And finally, no need to rely on some central way of exchanging coins. Those four components are what goes on with every exchange. And I've seen a lot of projects basically discover, say, an atomic coin exchange protocol and then implement that and get all excited. But, I guess after a shortish while, they realize that orders need to go out somehow, and they try one thing or another. And I mean, some people have centralized that. Other people have tried to put that on a blockchain and discovered how slow it is, and also that it enables miners to front run. I mean, there are a lot of problems to solve, and choosing the right protocols and the right architecture to achieve this is not trivial. And I guess it's why it's taken us a long time, and why it just is homework you need to do before you can bring something simple that really works, and really is secure, and really is decentralized.
Right. It also goes along with funding and developers, and that's what shortens time, right? But
Yeah.
tell us about your team. Who's on the team, and what kind of skills do they have?
All right. Well, it's a small team. It started out with a lot of people involved to an extent, but there were a good 9 coins kind of involved to some extent in the BlockNET, but it turned out that there was basically Dan, the founder, Dan Metcalf, whose idea this was, doing the coding work, and it was me doing the kind of coordinating of people and talking about how are we going to build this thing. And as things went, I got increasingly into design and the more technical sides of things. And at every point, Dan has also had some other coders that he contracts to do various pieces of work as well. And so the team basically comes down to Dan and I, and then whichever developers he is also getting involved to do various bits and pieces. Pretty small team.
I see. So you'll at times contract out to get some other work done.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, Dan is an experienced architect, and when you think like an architect, there's no need to, for example, write something when it's already written by someone else, or spend your time doing some really kind of random, easy but time-consuming work when you can get someone else to do that work, that sort of thing. And it really makes a lot of sense to get other people to do that kind of stuff.
Gotcha. Break down for me how what's the structure of BlockNET? What's this X bridge?
All right. It's not that obvious to talk about a platform and think of the BlockNET in terms of, I guess, how most people visualize platforms, because it's not really hierarchical. Let's say that at the bottom, if there is really a bottom to this, there are whatever wallets you're running on your local PC. If they're not strictly wallets, they could be any kind of app that is running some kind of a wallet in it, but you need not necessarily use it as a wallet. In addition to that, there is our XBridge peer-to-peer application that will connect to the wallets via the wallet's APIs. So Bitcoin Core has an API, and pretty much every single wallet based on it out there has exactly the same API. Okay. And so XBridge gets configured to connect to these wallets. Then what XBridge runs is a couple of components. The first thing is a DHT overlay. It's a network overlay that runs across all the nodes running XBridge P2P. And those are, each one, of course, is in turn connected to one or more wallets. And so what you end up getting is a peer-to-peer network across any number of blockchains. Timed out. Did someone just drop out of the connection?
Yeah, it's all right. We have some guests here. I guess some will pop in, some will pop out. I haven't figured out how to shut that voice off yet.
All right, but okay, so you have this overlay, which is an inter-blockchain network. And what its function is to be a router. We were calling it the blockchain router. And as far as I'm aware, there actually isn't anything else that's been invented so far that functions as a blockchain router. So we're quite proud of that. That's Dan's work, and I hope one day he gets some really good recognition for that.
I'm sure he will. You just got to keep up with it. I believe that it's important to stay consistent. Yes. And to keep in constant communications with people's concerns.
Yes. All right, so that's the one component. Another component is an end-to-end encrypted peer-to-peer messaging protocol. This enables you to send data from one peer directly to another with a really, really high degree of privacy and security. So this can be used for the delivery of some data in a service, if it's convenient to do so. It can be used for messaging, email type stuff, instant messaging, chat, that sort of thing, and it works directly on in our infrastructure without you having to build some other thing for whatever inter-blockchain app you might want to build. And then that's the second component, and then the third one is the BlockNet's blockchain itself. Now, that is a useful thing for monetizing services. So, for example, if App A delivers a service to App B, for example, then to send it across the network involves using the overlay and using our messaging protocol. And, if they're going to pay for it, then that gets converted over the network to BlockNet tokens. Right. And that in turn puts an amount of buy pressure on the token, and once it's converted to block, it gets distributed across the network, so that if you are part of the network, then you own block.
And so these tokens, are these tokens called BlockNet tokens? Or?
Yeah, on exchanges, their symbol is block, BLOCK, and I guess the normal name for them is BlockNet tokens.
And what type of how would somebody get some of these tokens if they wanted to get some? Is there some type of mining algorithm? Is it proof of stake?
It's entirely proof of stake. You can purchase them on exchanges at the moment. If you fire up the decentralized exchange of ours, you might also find somebody selling some block.
What is that? What's the decentralized exchange? I mean, how would somebody access that?
To get it, you need to download XBridge P2P. That's available on our website, and you need to run at least two wallets. So, for example, Bitcoin and the BlockNet wallet. So once you have those both running, then probably easiest to join Slack, because of course we haven't released some simple one-click type trading app yet. It still requires a bit of manual configuration. But basically you get XBridge P2P to talk to the wallets, and off you go and make some trades.
Nice, and that's blocknet.co, right? Like as in Charlie Oscar.
Yes.
Blocknet.co. And how would they be able to join your Slack if they wanted to join Slack?
Well, apart from emailing me or something, we have an auto sign up form. So if you go to blocknet.herokuapp.com, you'll get a little auto sign up, and you just put your email address in there, and you can join like that.
Oh, very, very cool. Very cool. Is it? I heard, and I've been following BlockNet for a long time. I think ever since almost the beginning of the platform started. There was some talk about storage, decentralized storage. Is that like in the plan, or is that already made?
That's something that people can build on our technology. I mean, at the time, I was thinking of a project like Storage. I mean, that I follow that project, and it's a very interesting thing, and I love the idea. But it occurred to us that, well, how useful are any of these projects going to be ultimately if, in order to use it, you have to download their entire blockchain first to get a file? I mean, it's a lot of work. It's too much friction,
right.
Really.
Right. It'll take a lot.
What
of
if
work.
what if they could, use their community to run their network of nodes, but offer that service across to apps on different blockchains, and possibly apps that just are traditional centralized mobile apps. I mean, I don't know. The important thing, of course, is just to have a secure delivery mechanism that can work across from one blockchain to another, and that's the component that we want to provide.
Got it. So this is like a more of a developer's paradise. If they wanted to accomplish something, you're providing an infrastructure to get that done.
Yes, I think we're hoping to make it a developer's paradise when it's done. At the moment, it's a monolithic app. It's about just delivering the decentralized exchange technology in a way that works. And as the project matures, it'll look more and more like a platform. I guess, I was going to say something complicated, but I won't bother getting into it.
Well, this is just an introduction. We could always get more we could have another show where we could get more into the nitty gritty technicals, which is more geeky. So, not many people will understand it. So we just want to understand the idea of blockchain right now.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the idea of it, I still think we're kind of, there'll be a time when this blockchain industry realizes that inter-blockchain interoperability is an absolute necessity for any of this stuff to work. I mean, blockchains bloat inexorably. They are not mobile friendly. They're not modular. They're not amenable, therefore, to developing a microservices type architecture. They're not. You can't build a Netflix, for example, on a blockchain. It's just the wrong type of thing to use. And so, unless people start doing this interoperability thing, unless people start really having a good way of delivering services across blockchains, it's just not going to work. Blockchains will not achieve their potential. So that's what we're here doing. And I'm hoping that when people all realize that, we're the first game in town and maybe the only game in town, and everybody starts using us.
What as far as the first game in town, what game would that be?
Inter-blockchain interoperability.
Inter-blockchain interoperability. I'm new. I have no idea what that means, but inter-blockchain interoperability.
Yeah, I think that at some point we will move into what you might call the inter-blockchain era, where everyone realizes that it just doesn't make sense to think you can have like enough going on in one blockchain to do what blockchains are supposed to be doing.
Correct.
You're just going to have to network them. And
correct.
That's what our technology does.
Yep, I envision a future where blockchains will be specific to their utility. So, there will be a blockchain for everything. You have a personal mortgage with a certain bank, there'll be a blockchain for that. Maybe even managed by that new Waves thing, or you said Netflix. You know, Netflix type of blockchain. You know, that's not out, but you know what? There is I believe it's called the LBRY library, and they're creating a decentralized YouTube. I mean, another example maybe would be how about your health, right? Your health. You go to doctor to doctor to doctor to doctor, right? And then over time you lose touch with doctors. Your records get lost. But how about if your health was on a blockchain? You know, your records of, you know, tests and things that, you know, ailments and, you know, issues you've had are all on the BlockNET, where one doctor could take a look at your blockchain, you're specific to you, your health blockchain, your medical blockchain, and know everything about you just by looking at your whole life on the blockchain in regards just to the medical blockchain, you know? So I think I think there will be so many blockchains at one point, you know, being used for specific purposes that, like you said, interoperability will be the goal of getting them all to work together.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there have been some projects so far that do recognize that they need to get services from a blockchain to somewhere else. But, you know, in every single case, what they do is they just resort to the usual web protocols to do that. But the thing is, those protocols are not secure. Immediately as you do that, you've sacrificed almost the whole point of a blockchain. And you might as well just have used a normal database in a lot of these cases and not bothered with these complicated blockchains. So I'm thinking, you know, when people start realizing that some services need to be secure, some services need to be private,
right,
some services cannot be centralized in order for them to be what they are, then they're going to have to start thinking through the problems that we've been thinking through. And they'll either figure them out themselves or they'll just come and use us.
Right, and blockchain is the most secure, and on top of it, you know, you don't want it to be centralized, because case scenario, a doctor loses your medical records. Actually, you know what? Let's be honest here. All right, a doctor after 10 years has the right to throw your medical records in the garbage. I don't know how it works everywhere else.
Know that.
In the United States, because I had a personal issue where a doctor did something to me personally, and when I was younger, that affected me later on, and I couldn't prove that they gave me a specific drug when I was young, because after 10 years, they're allowed to throw your records in the garbage, and so they have no proof of something. So, you know, lesson learned, if you have kids, you make sure that you have the right to go to your doctor and get a copy of all your records, and make sure you retain those yourself. But you know what? On a blockchain, if it was on a blockchain, we wouldn't have this problem, because it would always be there. And you don't want it centralized like that, because a doctor could take it and just throw it in the garbage. What is that? You know, if it's decentralized, it's always there. There's no one person that's in control of your medical history. So
it's a scary thought, isn't it?
It's actually horrible. It really is a horrible thing. But
the idea that there's a store there that's publicly available and can't be changed by anyone is very powerful. Although in the case of the medical thing, you would also want to retain the ability to give permission to someone to see a given record. And if you didn't give them permission, they couldn't see it at all, because it's private data. That's a bit of a curveball for blockchains to do, actually.
Yeah, so but moving on from that, I believe that there's other technologies within BlockNET that, right? You guys are working on, what was that? I guess the one thing... It was multi-sig escrow, multi-sig escrow of funds.
That's not something we're currently working on.
Okay.
But the immediate context, since my mind is on this decentralized exchange, I really would love to do margin trading on a decentralized exchange one day. And so I'm imagining a future where there is no central provider of liquidity for people to trade with margin. You wouldn't want to centralize in order to give people capital that they can go and trade with. You'd want kind of a peer-to-peer crowd-funded supply of capital to trade with on margin. And so, I mean, I don't know if you trade on Bitfinex, and they're centralized, and well, they got hacked recently, but in their early days, I remember being really impressed by the fact that any of their account holders could go and just put up capital for margin trading and get paid interest on that. And I think technically to achieve that in a peer-to-peer way would involve converting our coin exchange protocol to something that is multi-sig, and so that when you enter a position, you're a signer, the person providing the capital is also another signer, and then of course the recipient of whoever's buying whoever's bought your order is the other party involved there. It's just a matter of getting the rules right and making sure that
right, and
work for the use cases.
I believe that multi-sig technology is important. It's really hard to get. From what I understand, it's really difficult for any platform at the moment to implement because it's just too complicated for any average person to use. So, and that's the problem. You gotta get the key. You gotta send it to somebody else. It's just too complicated for people to utilize a multi-sig. But I do believe that one day multi-sig will be a staple for contracts, and it'll probably do away with lawyers. You won't need lawyers to secure your contracts. When you got multi-sig around.
Well, I actually think we're all set up to use this. I mean, the thing about multi-sig is it requires passing a transaction around from one party to another and building this transaction up as each party signs, and that's really complicated because you might have to use sort of email for it or something, and kind of pass this jumble of script around in an email without messing up the formatting or having any funny characters get introduced, and without anyone kind of intercepting the email and doing awful things with it, right? It's a scary possibility. But the thing is, the BlockNET has a peer-to-peer, end-to-end encrypted messaging protocol, which can be automated to pass these things around so that no one has to deal with the script directly. All they do is they press the sign button and off it goes.
And is that public? Like, if I sent a message, would that be public, or would everybody be able to see my message, or do I have the option to keep it a secret?
The messaging protocol is between one party and another party directly. There is no one else involved. It doesn't use a blockchain. It uses basically elliptic curve Diffie-Hellman, and it uses the DHT overlay. Elliptic
curve and DHT overlay. All right, so you lost me there. But that's all right.
Sorry.
That's the geeky stuff behind the technology, guys. So we're going to stay away from that for now until maybe we'll get a more technical interview later. So we could do you see yourself working with other partners, maybe technologies, to congregate, assist in interoperability of blockchains? Say I think you already have that, right? What other technologies, coins are being used on the blockchain, on BlockNET blockchain at the moment?
Well, there are a few, and we are absolutely open to working with other people. And if a project wants to use our tech, we're more than happy to get involved and give them advice and spend time explaining how the thing works and how best they might want to use it. I mean, the fact of the matter is, the inter-blockchain era is radically non-traditional. People don't generally understand it yet, and it takes a learning curve. But I do think it's coming. I do think it's necessary, and we're here to help people over the bump. The projects that are currently active and part of the BlockNet are Xcurrency, Horizon, StealthCoin, BitSwift, BitNation, and Ethereum, and of course Bitcoin. But that goes without saying.
Ethereum? You have Ethereum on it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's awesome.
Quite a while ago, we got in touch with the ETH dev people. I had a bunch of meetings in London, and they were really nice to work with. And we announced it in our blog and on a couple of crypto news sites. Yeah, I mean, it was good. It didn't mean, some sort of close partnership, because obviously we're at an early stage, and it's you first have to build the road before you can encourage people to drive their vehicles on it, so to speak. But yeah, we have been testing Ethereum on the decentralized exchange. It's, as far as I know, pretty much ready to go.
Hearing you say this, I imagine that we're going to have once this, pulls through and comes to the surface, I imagine we're going to have a lot of decentralized exchanges, with different technologies. Waves is working on a decentralized exchange, what is BitShares? There's a lot of technologies out there that they're working on decentralized exchanges also, and none of them have come to fruition yet, where, somebody could use it. But I imagine that there's going to be so many, like we have exchanges right now, right? The centralized ones. I think it's going to be the same thing, but we're going to have decentralized, we're going to have so many decentralized exchanges that probably will work a little differently, and people will have their favorites. So I think it might work like that eventually. You know what? You mentioned those coins, Horizon. I know it's kind of like NXT. I know a little bit, but you know what interests me the most? The BitSwift.
Okay.
Tell me about BitSwift.
Well, BitSwift have been around for a while. I think they had a fairly explosive beginning. It's headed up by Paul Bush. They've got this kind of business-focused approach, especially in Canada. I'm just going to their website because they had a really exciting thing, and I thought I'd look it up before I got it wrong when I tried to explain it.
Yeah, no problem. Take your time. Grab a beer.
Where is this now? Yeah, I've been drinking tea and eating some delicious chocolate while we have this conversation.
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah.
Let me think.
I have a paradise. So you know what I make? I make a fermented tea.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah.
How do you ferment it?
It's called a SCOBY, SCOBY.
Okay.
And you put it in with the tea, and over time, what happens is it ends up fermenting and becomes a little more vinegary. And
oh, wow.
But it's the health benefits are amazing. I mean, and also I think clearer. I have more energy during the day. I just try not to drink too much of it. I kind of like it's up to you. You could add sugar to it if you like it sweeter, but I like it vinegary because I'm not a fan of sugar. But you look into it. It's really, it's like, if you like the benefits of tea, this is like even more benefits.
Oh, cool. It reminds me of kombucha.
That's exactly what it is. It's kombucha.
Oh, it's the same thing. I thought you said something else.
yeah.
Cool.
I didn't want to say the word because I didn't want to throw you off, but yeah, that's what it is. I mean, the simplest way is...
a friend is making some.
Yeah, dude, I love it. I have different flavors over here. I have hibiscus making, I have green tea, and I have the regular tea. And I have white tea.
Oh, cool. Nice. Yeah, I enjoyed tea. I think living in Oxford for 4 years got me really into this whole tea thing. And there's some amazing tea there.
I've been big on fermentation, man. I've been growing a garden and fermenting everything. I mean, we have to get fermentation on the blockchain.
Absolutely. I think that's going to be a really interesting challenge. I'm so interested in the Internet of Things in general and the types of crazy hardware problems, if that's the correct word, to kind of securely tie a given product to the blockchain.
Apparently we have a lot of people in the crowd that are interested in tea. Somebody just asked, will tea be incorporated in BlockNET? It's great.
I don't see why not. I think these are problems to solve. I mean, speaking of this, I wonder whether have you heard of a project called Provenance?
No, what's that about?
Provenance is basically the tracking of supply chains on a blockchain. So, for example, let's say you buy a bicycle. You might want to know where the components are made, or where the bicycle itself was assembled, or who delivered it, and maybe you want to know about whether one of those parties was unethical or something like that in the way that they made it, or who they exploited to make it, or maybe wherever the raw materials came from, that kind of thing. So what they're doing is they're using blockchains to log events in the production process, and then obviously some software to link these all together to produce very three-dimensional pictures of the life cycle of a product. It's really quite great. It's a fascinating idea, and I love the fact that it gives you transparency over something that is almost impossible to make transparent in normal circumstances.
No,
Production processes are not transparent things normally.
It's sort of like an ERP that a warehouse corporation would use.
Okay, tell me about that.
It handles their finances, their debits, their credits, all their transactions. It handles their supply and their ordering of supplies, where it comes from. SAP would be an ERP. There's a lot of SAP is the leader right now in ERP.
Yes.
So,
Okay. Yeah. Well, absolutely. It's definitely related. By the way, the thing I was thinking of, the BitSwift project, it's called SwiftStream. Basically pays streamers for streaming media using blockchains. So kind of an exciting project. I think it will make for a fantastic inter-blockchain application. I'm very excited to see how it goes. But if you want to check it out, it's swiftstream.io.
Swiftstream.io. That's from BitSwift?
Yeah.
And this will allow you to post up content and be rewarded for it?
Kind of like YouTube, decentralized YouTube.
Oh, yeah. I was saying that earlier. A library or something like that also. But I believe it's utilizing a BitTorrent to do what they have to do.
All right. Well, I know nothing about the implementation of SwiftStream, I'm afraid. It would be nice to talk more about it, but I didn't build it, so I don't know nothing about it.
Well, maybe we could get the Smurf on soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Paul Bush, I'd recommend it.
BitSwift Dev, he's very active. I'm always reading. I don't comment much. I just like gaining knowledge. But he's a very active. I see he's very active in the community.
Yeah, I get the impression he's been building these business tools for a couple of years, just kind of waiting for us to finally finish our work and be able to offer it to communities on different blockchains.
I'm very, very excited. Good work, guys. I'm really happy to see you guys continuing with your project, and where others will fall short. You guys continue going through, and just a personal note. Don't forget to market, and marketing is very important because nobody knows about this. If I wasn't involved, I'm pretty sure I would have never come by it. And also go into it. We just spoke to Sasha from Waves, and and he goes he has a mind mentality of more business. Target something that works and make it that work first. And so instead of saying, we're gonna have 10, 20 different features, target one, make it work. Once that works, target the next, make it work, because people want to see something that's functioning. And,
absolutely.
And we've seen a lot of technologies die, and some of them still dying, and some of them still struggling. But overall, you guys are going strong, and for all those people out there that think BlockNET has died, no, it hasn't. It's been going strong. I've been following them. I've been watching them.
Thank you for following.
I mean,
it's really great that people do follow us, because it's a long project, and how a crypto year must be about a week. How you get dog years and cat years.
It's like one day.
Crypto years are a very short amount of time, and most projects just don't stick around for very long. And unfortunately, most of them don't ever get used. You know.
I just realized where I was going with that business mentality. We have other platforms out there, right? We're not going to mention names, but you know, they're very technical. They're so technical. It works like this and it works like that, and it's DApps and DAX, and you know what? You got to do away with the acronyms because nobody understands that shit. All right, and I'm allowed to curse. It's my show. And you know, you have to do away with the technical stuff. Because the technical stuff, nobody understands it. Oh, it works like this. It has, you know, you have to use this curl to get that, and you know, you have to set up. And nobody cares. Nobody cares about that stuff. That's not important.
Yeah.
You know, what's important is getting it to work. You know, so we've seen amazing technologies that have all these great ideas, even decentralization stuff. But you know what? They fall short because nobody understands what the hell they're talking about.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's what we're at least trying to do with the decentralized exchange. I mean, you know, thought about from the perspective of the whole project, it's the monetization aspect of it. It's a way in which you can pay for a service in one coin, and the service provider can receive payments in a different coin. It's necessary for inter-blockchain applications, but it's also something that's very useful for traders. And so that's what we're going to do. We can bring this out, make it available, make it easy to use, and we'll see how it goes, I guess.
I agree completely. So let's get. We have quite a few questions here. Wow. All right. Yeah, we might want to get started here.
All right.
First, let me get to one person. They said, Lutz, let's talk about you. So let me tell you a little bit about me. I've been doing radio for about 3 years now. Started with Veracoin. We went to SuperNet. Now we're at Core. You know, we're part of the coremedia.info. If you take a look at coremedia.info, we provide a physical magazine to people regarding crypto, you know, which is a great way for people to understand. You know, you're sitting in the bathroom, you want to read a magazine. Look, there's Core Media magazine. What's this about? You know, and you start looking into it, and you start seeing all the greatest technologies. You know, right there in the magazine, you could learn about you know, different coins, and you know, get involved. So that's one branch. That's not me. That's another branch of Core. Core is like a tree. We have many different branches. We have a TV branch coming out very soon. We're actually interviewing them. We're going to interview them this weekend. So tonight or tomorrow, we have some a couple girls very interested. They're crypto minded.
Great.
Also, we have me. I'm your radio star, right? Me and DJ Prince are running the show at the moment. DJ Prince is my DJ, and he edits the shows so they sound beautiful, and he gets very technical. You know, like when I don't know where to plug something in, I go to him. And then about me personally, you're asking. I'm a network engineer for Verizon during the day. I'm very technical. I build websites for fun. I have over 50 websites. And I do radio. You know, aside from gardening and all my holistical practices in health, I'm very concerned with health. I actually do a show on health also. So yeah, then that's basically it in a nutshell. That's about me. I talk Italian. I'm from Brooklyn, where most Italians end up. And that's about it. So let's get to some of these questions.
Nice.
Oh, he said not you. He said the user interface. I thought you guys wanted to hear about me. I was like, wow, they're actually interested in knowing who I am.
Well, I'm glad you introduced yourself. I think that was well worthwhile.
All right, so tell us about the BlockNET user interface.
All right. Well, I guess on one level, there's nothing novel about it. We want it to look like a typical trading interface. You know, there's a buy button on the one side and a sell button on the other side, and a couple of choices of what type of order it is, and a place where you put the number of coins. I mean, order book on the one side, the stuff you're all used to if you've traded.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's the back end, of course, is completely different, but the front end really needs to look familiar.
Yes, I agree. It needs to be simple. It needs to be a very simple GUI, graphic user interface.
Exactly.
So we have a block cheerleader. I don't know why I envision a hot chick with a cheerleader outfit on, but he wants to know, are all, or she, I'm not really sure, are all the bugs ironed out about the X-Bridge protocol at the moment?
The X-Bridge protocol. Well, that it's not really. There isn't such a thing as an X-Bridge protocol. I mean, there's a coin exchange protocol. There's, you know, the DHT network and the various protocols that are involved in that thing. There's the peer-to-peer messaging. Put it this way, I'm sure that there's still at least some bugs somewhere because we're still building stuff.
There's always bugs. There's always bugs. It's a never-ending story.
Yeah.
He
but
also
maybe he meant the exchange and whether it works smoothly now. And
well, there was a second part to it. Does it work each time, or it needs more work still?
Oh, all right. Well, last time I checked, it was reasonably reliable. Actually, I'm not seeing all kinds of issues or something. It just seems to work.
Yeah, right. Well, that answers that. I haven't used it personally myself, so I can't really comment.
I'd recommend it.
Yeah, I have so much time in a day, bro. I mean, I do my radio show. I gotta water the plants. Like by the time I know it, it's like 10 o'clock at night. And I gotta get to sleep because it's work in the morning. But I try my best. I try my best to make this crypto world a better place.
Well, I tell you what. Wait until you basically need to just quickly install something and use it without configuring it manually, which is what you have to do at the moment. And then we'll give you a run through. Cool.
Sounds good. I have some VPSs. Maybe we could utilize that also.
All right.
Will the cost of this is Philip Marshall? Will the cost of a node come down to 5,000 at some point? Right now, it's over 9,000. Oh, what are these nodes about? You guys have full nodes?
Sorry, can you explain the question?
Oh, I'm sorry. I asked my own question afterwards.
The cost of a node.
Right. Will it come down at some point? He wants to know.
Well, I mean, it's not set in stone at the moment. We're kind of just Dan basically set at 10,000 as this kind of nominal figure, but I don't really see. I mean, I've seen a few people kind of requesting that it goes down to 5. That it's a little bit more affordable to people, and I mean, I'm amenable. It's absolutely something we can take a look at.
There you go, Filippo. That's that's a possibility. You never know. Make it easier for people to join in. The next, we have the cheerleader again. When do you expect a full user-friendly, bug-free, complete DEX to come out with the UI and everything?
That is not something we are giving out a timeline for. The main reason is that the amount of work in this project that has been explorative has been considerable. I mean, this is a completely new direction to have gone in crypto. It's something that took a lot of work just to think through clearly, never mind to build. And we tried a lot of approaches. We tried a lot of things until we found a design that really makes sense. And we don't want to put the building of it under a whole bunch of time pressure and end up having to cut corners and do a bunch of awkward things just to bring it to market. We prefer to build it properly. And I mean, I don't know about you, but every single developer that I've met doesn't function and work creatively and well with like the business end of a company kind of bearing down on him or her.
Right.
It's a creative space. You need to be able to just do the work.
These things take time, guys. You can't rush this. If you want to rush it, then you'll end up with a failed project.
Yeah, and I think there's also something to be said for, there are a lot of crypto projects that start out with some really grandiose claims and kind of never get there or just get abandoned. And honestly, you wonder sometimes whether they ever even planned on actually building anything.
Right. They're just taking coins and run.
Yeah, and I think the very short timescales of those projects can get people used to stuff getting delivered, in a couple of weeks or something. But actually doing software, actually building something properly, it takes a long time. It's hard work. It's very technical stuff.
In a real business, it could take years to perfect any type of solution.
Exactly.
But let's say Shockstar wants to know: has Dan reached out to the creator of other coins to implement in BlockNet for future use, such as Dash, Steam, Syscoin? Actually, can I answer this one for you?
Of course.
Shockster, as we discussed earlier, that there's going to be so many decentralized exchanges at one point that solutions like BlockNet aren't going to need to reach out to these coins. They're going to be reaching out to BlockNet because everybody's going to want to be on the exchanges, right? So eventually, if you want to be part of an exchange, they're going to have to reach out to BlockNet and incorporate. So it's really the other way around. Once their solution has come to fruition, you will be able, if your coin's on there, it's not because Dan has to go and ask them. It's because they didn't come and ask Dan. Am I right?
Mm-hmm. I agree with you, but I think there's also something to be said for just going around and chatting to communities, because it's one thing to be able to potentially trade a coin on a decentralized exchange, but it's another thing for there to be liquidity. And the shortest path to liquidity is just to get an entire community to give it a go and use that instead of some centralized thing where everyone's at risk of a hack or fraud or something else. I mean, it just makes sense. So I have been joining various communities and having conversations and just sharing the awareness of what this thing is that we're building. And I'm going to keep doing that. And people will join when they join, and we'll keep on building up general awareness of what this is.
Also, I'm not really sure what micro fees are. Can you explain micro fees to the BlockNet holders? Is that kind of like micropayment?
Yeah. I think an easy example of a micro fee is if you send a Bitcoin payment, there's always some small amount that gets paid to miners. You can make that amount whatever you want, but at the minimum, it's some very small amount. That's a micro fee, just loosely speaking. In the case, in the context of the BlockNet, there will be micro fees for trading. So if you place an order, the order is accepted, then there'll be a very small fee charged for that trade, and that small fee will then get distributed to the people who have BlockNet wallets running.
All right, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you explain the difference between a color coin dex, waves, and BlockNet one? I'm not really sure where he's going with this.
All right. No, I think I understand. Well, there are quite a lot of decentralized exchanges that use colored coins. So the idea is that a colored coin is basically just you can do colored coins on Bitcoin, for example, and all you do is you mark a given coin with some kind of thing that an application can read, so that it knows that it isn't just functioning as a coin, it's as a Bitcoin, it's functioning as whatever else you want. So like a certain amount of a certain amount of gold or some other currency you just invented or anything at all. So they run as an abstraction layer on top of a cryptocurrency. Now the reason people want to use these for decentralized exchanges is that they can create tokens for every cryptocurrency out there, and then build an app that allows you to trade the tokens for other tokens. It's quite an easy way to do it, but the drawback of using this approach is that all the tokens are centrally issued. I mean, when you create a colored coin, you personally release those tokens to the world. And so that just means that everybody trading has to trust you, a third party, with those tokens to make sure that you're going to play fair and you're not going to do some sneaky things like giving yourself free money or anything else. So in other words, to put it simply, every decentralized exchange that uses colored coins requires centralized issuance of tokens, and by extension is going to require centralized deposits of the underlying token of value, like say Bitcoin, if you're building a colored coin on top of Bitcoin. And it's just not decentralized enough, basically, in my opinion.
Well, if you create a colored coin on Bitcoin, from what I understand, that coin that you create, that colored coin, has the value of Bitcoin. So what the point is of the colored coin is that you want to add more value than the Bitcoin itself by implementing your own innovative idea behind that colored coin, which would give it value, right?
Well, yes, in a sense, except that you can be sending, like every colored coin transaction is also a Bitcoin transaction, but the underlying value in Bitcoin of each transaction could be 0.0001 or something. It's a tiny amount. But at the same time, each transaction could be representing $100,000 here and $200,000 there. I mean, the value, the actual value on the colored coin layer is completely independent of the value on the Bitcoin layer.
Oh, so it's not backed by the Bitcoin?
Not at all.
Oh, all right. You know what? It's been a long time. I mean, I think it's been over a year. We have the interview still in our archive. If you go to our SoundCloud, yeah, and we interviewed Flavian Charlin. He's the creator of colored coins.
All right.
So
by the way, I'm actually using the word colored coins in a generic sense. I mean, for example, Omni or Mastercoin are doing the same thing, and it's well coded. Counterparty, as far as I can tell, are kind of doing the same thing as well. The NXT assets are all just colored coins. Horizon assets are the same thing. I think Waves is doing colored coins. I'm not especially familiar with the project, but as far as I can tell, it's mostly just colored coins that they're doing. They're just doing it in a business friendly way. So which is to say, in general, colored coins are an incredible idea. When I discovered Mastercoin in 2012 or something, I was blown away. It completely broadened my horizons, and they're here to stay. It's a technology that people are going to keep using because it works. But I still think that when it comes to the design of a decentralized exchange, they are not suitable because they necessarily centralize your token issuance. And that's no good because then it's not really decentralized.
Yeah, I agree. We don't want anything centralized. That's what we're trying to gear away from.
Absolutely.
So I have I don't know what this is. Tau chains. What do you think of Tau chains, and when will it be out? How will it benefit BlockNet?
Tau chains. Well, I guess there've been very few things in crypto that have completely blown my mind, and Tar Chains is the most recent thing. I mean, the first thing that blew my mind was Bitcoin. I read Satoshi's white paper. It was one of the first things I did, having discovered Bitcoin, and it was amazing. A beautiful piece of writing, extremely clear, very rigorous, and just a complete stroke of genius. The second thing was Mastercoin, now known as Omni. The third thing was Ethereum, and well, after Ethereum, the next thing that really expanded my world is Tarchain. Maybe the easiest way to approach what Tarchain is to think of Ethereum. All right, if you start with Ethereum, it's this idea that you can create contracts of arbitrary complexity with certain real world limits, but you can express anything in its scripting language. And so in principle, you could take all the rules of an entire organization and just put that on Ethereum's blockchain. Now, the thing is with Ethereum, which is what the whole crypto world has discovered recently, is that it's really hard to tell whether a contract is actually secure or not. I mean, with the DAO or the DAO, people thought it was secure for a while, and then someone completely drained it and all hell broke loose, and Ethereum ended up hard forking, and now we've got this whole complicated situation that we have today. Now,
Right.
there's actually a really deep mathematical principle going on here. As soon as you have Turing completeness, which just means the ability to kind of express anything, then you also have a property called undecidability. It basically means that you actually can't decide what the outcome of something is going to be. It's just not even theoretically possible to do that, which means it's definitely not practically possible. So let's say like the outcome of a certain operation could be a 1 or a 0. If it's an undecidable case, then it might be the case that if you get a 0, then, well, that also means that it could be 1 or 0. And if you get another 0, then it could be 1 or 0 again. And you just get in this kind of endless recursion of undecidability. Now, what Tarchain does is it preserves decidability, and then it builds up to the kind of expressive power that Turing completeness gives you by just doing, computations per block again and again and again, and you build up to pretty much any outcome you want. But then it still preserves decidability. So at any point, and before you even deploy a contract even, you can prove exactly what the outcomes are. You can completely define the entire space in which that contract operates. And so every interaction is mapped out. And that makes it, firstly, very secure, but it also does interesting things, like you can prove that it's bug-free. You can prove that it is immune to malware. I mean, this sort of security-first approach is something that I'm finding extremely refreshing in the wake of the DAO and everything going to hell on Ethereum.
Right.
And I think when it comes to security, Tarchain is amazing. But it's actually a much broader approach. I've approached it in terms of why it has a use case because of what Ethereum didn't do. But it does a lot of other stuff. It's actually, this sounds crazy, but it's actually an auto reasoner. So the program itself can learn, and it does that through first order logic. I think more recently it's actually going to use second order logic too, but basically the program itself can figure out certain things by getting information from one context and some other information in another context and performing deductive rules so that it comes to its own conclusions. And by doing that, it kind of builds up knowledge. And because it can store things on a blockchain, it kind of builds up knowledge immutably. It's really quite amazing.
It's like artificial intelligence.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's awesome.
Artificial intelligence on a blockchain. I'd really recommend looking at it. It's incredible stuff, and the two people who are leading the project are just formidably talented.
Hey, security is also a sector that we haven't seen a lot. A lot of people stress enough. So yeah, you're right. Who runs Tau Chain? Is that a coin? Is that something that's traded?
They're still doing a crowd sale at the moment. The chain itself hasn't launched, there are two people. One guy is in Israel and his name is Ohad, and the other guy is anonymous. And I'm just trying to remember his pseudonym. It's Hunter Minor Crafter, something like that.
Maybe in the future we could get them and you on at the same time.
I think I'll mostly just sit quietly and listen to them.
I don't know. You have a lot of ideas.
I certainly have a lot of ideas, but yeah, I pretty much read everything that they write and just keep on absorbing information. It's great for me because I have a background in analytical philosophy and I did a bit of logic. So two people like that who have done a whole lot of mathematics and logic and are also great coders. It's fantastic to be in that environment.
Right. Well, when it comes to coders, it's either you're really good at logic or you're really good at math. But when you're good at both, then you're a really good coder.
Yeah, absolutely. They're just the kinds of people I'd want to build the perfect blockchain.
Awesome. We have Shockster here. He's asking if running a node, will the token stake in the wallet at the same time?
To be honest, I have no idea. Running a node.
I'm trying to understand it also.
The thing is, if you're running a node, it is a wallet, and so if you have tokens in there, they're going to be, your wallet's going to be processing blocks, and if it's the winning block processor, then well, you get some stake reward, right? I mean, that's going to keep going, unless I've misunderstood the question or something.
I think that's what he means. I think if you hold your coins inside a running node, will it stake as well as just like a wallet?
Yeah, it is a wallet, so it'll just stake as per usual.
Gotcha. That's your answer, Shockster. I'd watch out though, Arlen. I think Block Cheerleader has a thing for you. I think she is saying you have a very sexy voice.
Oh man, Block Cheerleader. I never would have thought.
Yeah, be careful, all right? Just you don't know. You don't know.
I will tread carefully.
You might find a surprise. You never know. We have moving blocks. He's got a really cool graphic. He says a friend of mine wants his Bitcoin at the moment to be BlockNET enabled. Will this be a walk in the park to do?
That's a really interesting idea. So I'm thinking, say, I think he means an ATM, Bitcoin ATMs. So if you if you want to deposit or withdraw Bitcoin from an ATM, then in principle you could trade it for whatever other wallets the ATM is running at the time, and that'll just connect to our network and take whatever orders are out there. That's absolutely doable. I mean, now that I think about it, an ATM is an ideal device to be on the BlockNet because they run all the time. They don't really shut down, do they? And they're already running a bunch of wallets. They can just run our stuff, and that our application can connect to the APIs of each wallet and go for it. I mean, that could be fantastic.
Yeah, that's actually easy, not that difficult to do. From what I remember, Vericoin wanted to do that, and never. I think maybe they did one or two, but the machines themselves, they cost like $1,000. But once you have it, you could customize it any way you like. They have these like open source, I guess, ATMs you could buy. And you customize it however you like. As long as you keep filling it up, it'll always put out.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think, if it's an ATM that has deposits enabled, that's a really interesting idea. I think it's fantastic. You deposit some dollars or some Bitcoins or something into the ATM. It counts the money if it's actual physical money. and goes and buys you whatever you want on the decentralized exchange and returns it in a completely peer-to-peer manner. I mean, that's fantastic. Imagine not having to, connect to some centralized exchange and, have to run an account of your own on the exchange and get API keys for that and, connect over the wild, dangerous internet and hope like hell no one kind of gets your keys and drains your account. I mean, much better to just use a decentralized exchange for that.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have ATMs though when you walk in a store, and it's a concept that's not very new, but it works. I'm always at the ATM myself when I need cash. When I go there for exchanging blockchain information. I'm not talking about just going for cash. Having an ATM that exchanges information.
Yeah. Why not?
Have an ATM that exchanges information. I need to know this. I need information on this account. You put in your coin and it'll send you information. Maybe directly to your phone. Because ATMs
That's very
now,
interesting.
I come up with great ideas all the time. I just don't understand why I'm still broke.
Do you think that's something that people would need, even if they have smartphones that can already give them a lot of information?
Yeah, but how about if it's like proprietary information? It's sort of like maybe content type information.
Mm-hmm. Well, I tell you what. I mean, going into the future, the BlockNet's decentralized exchange is going to need to start working over an SPV multi-wallet, basically a bunch of kind of light wallets that all are rigged together into one app.
Yeah.
And in those situations, it's interesting to think through how an ATM might work with those, because an ATM being an ATM could run a bunch of full nodes. And there are obviously security advantages to that, but maybe it might be useful to think through how that could interface with a multi-wallet on your mobile device. And I don't know, I haven't thought this through, but definitely worth giving attention to. Either way, though, the exchange will need to work on its own with a multi-wallet, because I mean, the amount of friction we would remove by building that would be enormous. Imagine being able to trade very quickly with all kinds of currencies without having to download the entire blockchain. It's absolutely a win.
Actually, if you listen to my last interview, I think that was the idea. Waves was just on earlier today, and that's the same idea. Listen, maybe you guys could congregate, come up, work. I would be more than happy if all these competing coins would stop competing, because it's not a competition. It's only competition if you're an investor, but if you're not an investor, there's no reason to compete with each other, because if everybody put their heads together in the same room, I believe we could accomplish we could be 10 years forward right now if everybody would just stop competing and just put themselves in the same room and everybody could work together, kind of like open source Linux.
I'm all for collaboration. I think it's extremely valuable. I mean, that's, funnily enough, one of the reasons why I was energized to start the BlockNet in the beginning, because it's something that involves interoperability, and if you want to be interoperable, you work with other people. You make solutions that are linking projects together. And I coming from where I was before the BlockNet, I really was also just so tired of needless competition that didn't achieve anything good. It just made people troll each other.
Exactly. That's the problem. They yours is mine, your mine is yours, and who cares? Nobody cares. You think that guy on Facebook that's going to college today cares if somebody wrote a code that looks like yours, or nobody cares. You're wasting your breath because nobody cares. It's doing no good. It's doing no good to the crypto world. You just
and when it comes down to it, like 99% of the people in crypto all want the same things. We all have similar hopes for certain technologies to come into the world, and I mean, it'd be nice if we could kind of all get together and just build something wonderful, and all the combined abilities and know-how is formidable. But if they're continually kind of divided and in competition, it's just so much more expensive.
Yeah, we should have some type of think tank Slack, or where everybody gets involved. Not have separate Slacks, because I've even seen this in the past. Where we're moving to our own Slack. Why? Everybody's here. Why would you go and separate yourself from the crowd? It makes no sense to me. But that's just my opinion.
Well, I can tell you what. I mean, I agree, and I would much prefer a large, vibrant community where everyone works together.
A community of 50,000 people. Why not?
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is, unfortunately, Bitcoin Talk used to be a great environment, and they still are, archives of all kinds of great conversations. I mean, when I was researching decentralized exchange protocols, most of what I got was straight off Bitcoin Talk. There are a couple other sources, but there's a lot of information on there. I mean, it used to be great, but it got extremely toxic about maybe 3 years ago. And it just got worse and worse and worse. And it becomes impossible to do anything when you're in that environment.
Those were the days when the investors started coming in and hammering. They used to hammer technologies with bad news, or with doubt. They would inject FUD into the feed.
Yeah.
And people would start selling, and they're over there like, oh, thank you, I'll collect some more.
Yeah.
And then they
scoop tactics.
Exactly.
That's what it's called.
Unbelievable. So
the thing is, it's kind of, it's not nice to watch from the outside, but when it's your project and you've kind of sunk hours and hours and made it your major commitment, it's absolutely destructive to your person. It breaks you emotionally to have to deal with that. I mean, it's a little bit hard to express that unless you've experienced it yourself. But I mean,
I've experienced that. I know what you're saying. Yeah. Oh, trust me, I know. I've had somebody tell me, oh, your radio show is not professional. I mean, dude, I do this on my spare time. It's not like this is my main job. This isn't paying my bills. I do this for fun. This is my relaxing time, honestly. This is what I like to do. So it's when people tell you negative stuff, you just got to take it with a grain of salt and shrug it off. Try not to curse them out like I do. Because I
I don't mind a little bit of criticism. That stuff's always going to happen, and if you have a public project, like I'm okay with that. It's a difference between the usual amount of public criticism, which is benign and endurable, and a massive smear campaign that goes on for months and doesn't go away and grinds you in the dirt, and where you can't spend any time doing anything else than just dealing with this awfulness that's going on and trying to destroy your project. And it doesn't just feel like it's destroying your project. It feels like it's completely exhausting you, and you have no emotional resources, and you feel kind of powerless because there are, I don't know how many people all kind of having a go and spreading all kinds of craziness on the internet. And the best you can do is just not sleep and keep trying to deal with whatever's going on.
Yeah, no, I would
destroyed.
Ignore it. You got to ignore it. That's what I do. You know what I do? I remove myself from that environment. That's what I do. If it's a Slack that it's happening on, I just leave the Slack completely. I want nothing to do with it. I completely separate negative from my world. Anything negative has to go. I've done that with ex-girlfriends. It's definitely something. You know what? You don't want to live with that negativity in your world. You always want positive people around you. It's the most important thing you have to do in life, is to fill yourself with positivity. I have a question here. Is the BlockNET from Philip Marshall, is the BlockNET book still coming out?
Oh, interesting question. Yes. Well, we were approached by a writer, Chris Thompson, and I haven't heard from him for the last 4 weeks. I should actually just ping him and see what he's up to. He wanted to write a book on the story so far, I guess, of the BlockNet. He's written a number of other books published on Amazon about various cryptocurrencies.
I've seen those.
He's interested in telling our story.
Yeah, I've seen them actually. Hey, he's good.
It'd be cool to have a.
He's doing it on everybody.
Yeah, well, I mean, I need to send him a message and see what the deal is there.
He has Peercoin. I think I saw Peercoin on there also.
Yeah, no, that'll be nice. Well, thanks for the reminder. It's definitely something that I should just check up on.
It's also very very lucrative. He's doing a great job. If he continues, creating books on Amazon, he's gonna do very well. The Smurf has joined. He joined us on the chat. BitSwift Dev. I hope one day I could interview you on BitSwift. I'd be very interested in learning how BitSwift works and what it's about, and introducing you to my community that's been following me for a long time.
Is he here?
He's not in the channel, but he's typing at the moment.
Oh, cool.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he's anonymous. There's some people that like to keep themselves anonymous.
Oh no, he's not anonymous. He's been public for a long time. His approach has always been about having an actual registered business in Canada and providing kind of like realistic business services to other businesses using BitSwift.
It's all about bringing your business to the blockchain. I mean, we all do something. We all do something. Whether it's selling shoes or running a large corporation. Bringing blockchain into your world is a wonderful thing. So I'm, on that note, we're gonna end it here. We've been going for an hour and a half. We don't want to make it too tedious.
That was quick.
It's quick. It's quick when it's fun. It's quick when it's fun, my friend.
Yeah, well, thank you. It's been great. It's been really nice to chat.
I'm gonna on this note, everybody. I'm really happy you joined us, and I would advise you to look into BlockNet, because from what you've heard so far, there's a lot of people that beat down on technologies, but you know what? In the end, they're still here. All right, and all those technologies you thought were going to be great, where are they now? So you need to look at the people that stick with their guns, that stay on the trail. They keep the train on the tracks. All right. When they go into a bar, they're leaving with a phone number. All right. They get maybe multiple phone numbers. Right. They getting the job done. So you guys got to keep that in mind. This is Lutz and Arlen from BlockNet. I'm very happy you came, and I look forward to continuing following you guys. And
thank you.
I hope to hear from you more often.
Absolutely.
With more updates. I know development is slow, but don't worry, Lutz isn't going anywhere.
Well, neither are we. We'll be around. Final thing, we are very happy to have anyone come in and try out the decentralized exchange. We have how-tos. Join the Slack, get involved. We're around, and get going with something that is, in my opinion, the most secure way to trade.
Yes, and if you have ideas, if you run a coin, if you have a blockchain technology you want to partner up with, that's the best thing you could do. Find somebody else that has similar goals, partner up together so that your goals could come to fruition, instead of just laying around getting worked on for years. And so it's good to work together, people.
Yeah.
We don't want this separation of Slacks, and we need to work together. Aspect of your life could be better if you stop centralizing it and learn how to decentralize it for your own benefit. All right, Arlen. I'm.
Well said.
Thank you. Encore.
Well, Lutz, thanks very much. Have a great afternoon. Is it afternoon where you are?
Yeah. 3, almost 4 o'clock. I gotta go hang out with the chick now.
Nice. So it's almost 10 p.m. here, so I'm gonna have myself a whiskey and then get to bed.
Right. Oh, whiskey man. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us. And this is Lutz coming to you live. I'm trying to bring you the best I can all the time. And I am signing out. Love you all. Bye.